So welcome to this session of communicating your data science. Today we're going to talk about how we will generate our markdowns, and we are working within RStudio. And recall here we are working with one of our R scripts that we already generated, the one on the exploratory data analysis of the bike sales data set, okay? So essentially we can start off by generating a new script, a new R script, okay? To do that, when you file R script, which I already have open over here, okay? So the first thing you do is install the package RMarkdown and then the library RMarkdown. That's in case you don't have it already installed within your RStudio, but it does come as a default installation. So to generate an RMarkdown, you simply go to File again, New File, and rather than choose an R script, you select an RMarkdown, okay? So this is the screen it brings you. So RMarkdowns allow you to take what you already have as your scripts, your codes, and turn them into a communication device that can either be in form of an HTML, which is easily editable, or a PDF or a Word document, okay? So you want to first give your RMarkdown a title. Say I'm giving it the title, Exploring the Bike Sales Data Set, okay? The author would be a course unit, and I'll leave the date as is. And I knit it to a PDF, but the recommended is that you knit it to an HTML because this can easily be changed into a PDF or a Word. But in my case, I'm selecting having it knitted into a PDF, all right? So once I select that, we get this screen that's untitled. We see that we have over here an RMD that's in red, and it's given me the title and the date, and it lets me know that the output format is going to be PDF, okay? So this is what the R Markdown looks like, which is very different from the R script. Now, essentially, these bits are just about what are the contents of your Markdown. Now, over here, we have what are called R chunks, or the chunks of code that perhaps you may take from a script you previously had, or you're going to be writing a script from scratch, okay? So over here is one chunk, but it has this default information that we don't want to use, okay? So we can generate our own R chunks by going up to this C+ and generating what are called R chunks. Insert a new R chunk that you can work with, or you can take the default items and change them, okay? Change what they are about. So I just want them to be in R format, is all I'm interested in. Just do a bit of undoing there. Okay, so I just want R scripts, so R chunks. So I leave it at that, and in here is where I can come and now start writing my new code. So let's say my usual, I would start off by pulling up my libraries. Okay, let's say we have declar, we have tidyverse, we have some libraries for plotting, and so on and so forth. So this already is an R chunk because it contains different R scripts. Now, in order to have it run, I can either select the run option up here, which I can use to run a current chunk or run the next chunk if I had many other chunks within my R Markdown. So you can use the current because I only have the one chunk in here, or you can select this play green button right next to the chunk to run its current chunk. Now, when we run it, I see I get an error because I misspelled tidyverse. I'll just correct that. Run it down again. So the output gives me everything that is happening within that run chunk, okay? So at the end, obviously, a markdown always has a few sentences letting you know what has been generated, okay? So let's say I want to generate another chunk, okay? So this is my second chunk, and I want to use this to say, set my working directory and import my particular data set, and then use that to look at the output. Okay, so I'm just going to take these comments away because I do not need them in this instance. So I go ahead and I run this chunk. So you can see that it's still running. So once it's executed, we get to see what the output looks like. And this is what the output looks like. So it's showing me those first 10 lines for my particular data set. And this is what I should expect should be saved on my PDF. How do I save it to my PDF or my HTML or Word? I select the option for knit, which is to knit the current document, okay, the current scripts. And I want to knit them to a PDF, okay? So once I select that, it's going to allow me to save an RMD. So let's say I call this lecture 6 markdown and save that in our usual folder. So now it's having it rendered to a PDF and it's processing that RMD and knitting it to a PDF, okay? So once it's complete, I do have the option to go check it out within the folder where it has been rendered to. Okay, so you'll have your RMDs in there and you'll have your text output files, okay, that have been generated for you. Okay, so an option of a text file is letting me know that this is what it looks like, okay, but that is not something I would want to use as a communication. Instead, I want it as a PDF. So I have to make sure that it's within the right directory. So I'll select the current working directory. And I'm knitting. Okay, so if it is knit as an HTML, what does that also get to look like? And so on and so forth, depending on the type of document that you would prefer to have your communication format in, okay? So I have an HTML here. I'll just reshare it. Just give me a moment. Okay, so this is shown in my output that is generated on this particular date. And I had called up particular libraries, and this was what the output of those libraries were, and the particular data set, and this is what it looks like. So you can use this very particular scenario to also give you the outputs of the imagery that you're interested in, okay? Let's just go back a bit to the Markdown so that we can discuss a few particular aspects. For instance, if we are interested in calling up our libraries, but we don't want to see the output call for those particular libraries, when we call up that R chunk, we can also include the false aspect, okay? This false aspect will allow that the result of this code will not be shown within our particular knitted document, be it a PDF or HTML, okay? So you'll have this session and you can go through it by yourselves. I'll see you in the class.